This is Anthony with True Diamond Heart, continuing our series on Through the Darkness. As we spoke of last time, in our movement, first with courage and honesty, we see that we are carrying darkness. Then we take and understand that we have responsibility, which means both that the darkness is here, the darkness we need to take care of, and that we have the ability to respond and work with it. And then we see that with this constellation, we start to recognize the false self, which is this pathological attachment to this little self, that I am so special and I am better and I am worse, and worse is no different from better. It's simply some kind of specialness relative to others. And so in this state of obsession with ourselves, with our little selves, what I like, what I don't like, my political, religious, age, gender, there's birds behind the camera, all of this littleness that is true on the relative level of bodies, and yet that binds us and imprisons us when we seek the light, because that is darkness if we think that's simply who we are, as we spoke of last time. We started to touch on the process of moving through the darkness into the light. We move through certain amounts of darkness and the light reveals, because the light's always there waiting to help us, and yet it comes and reveals in a way that we don't expect and at a time that's out of our control. This is called surrender. Thank you. We'll talk about surrender next time. But as we move through this darkness, and all of a sudden we've come to a new level and we're in a place of light. It seems like it. Not only does it seem like, we are in a new place of light, and the light is there, and we start to say, wow, I've arrived. And then first in the world of darkness, the shadow leads and the light trails like a shadow, always waiting, always there. Then as we enter into the path of light, increasingly it's the light that leads, but the shadow always trails. It always comes in, tries to say, oh, look how special I am. I entered into light. I have this light, and all these other people don't have light. Ooh, the darkness will always try to take credit for the light. Beware. Just stay conscious of that. So we burst into light, as did my friend who I spoke about a couple videos ago. She's been studying, meaning meditating hours every day, or at least an hour or two every day, doing her yoga, taking care of her body, going on the retreats, just with that degree of sincerity, pursuing for years. And all of a sudden, now, years later, she's gone on a retreat by herself, one-on-one with a woman, and she's finding herself with desperate loneliness, fear, anger, sorrow, desperation. And she's awake enough to realize she's starting to see things about her family and about herself that she never saw. The falseness of what it is she's been carrying all these years is starting to crumble, and in that is terrible pain, because that which we've thought we were, as it lets go, as we release ourselves from the grasp of the ego, of that false self, the ego doesn't let go gracefully. It will give you any pleasure, any pain. It will kill you to maintain. It would rather have you die in its control than be free out of its control. So as we go into the light, as we move through the darkness, there is light. We'll speak about that. We're supposed to speak about surrender next. We'll talk about the light, about the help that's there after that. Thank you. The light that's there helps us, and we move through, and we have like a breakthrough, and we're in the light. This has been what's happening to me for the last 6 months. It's been the most difficult 6 months of my life, 2 years of my life, without a question, and yet the most rewarding. Through the darkness, I asked for it. I was with prayer, with sincerity, to say, I will take whatever's necessary to move me into the next level. I want to be with light. I want to be embodying. I want to be light. I want to live in light and be light. And there was enough sincerity in that prayer. And I said, whatever's necessary, any pain, whatever has to happen, any suffering, let's do it. And that was arrogance, because I thought, I could take anything. But it was also sincerity. And the sincerity had the prayer answered. And I went into the darkest darkness of who I, as far as I know, maybe there's more, but there's certainly more. But I think that this was the nugget of darkness that I was carrying. And in the nugget of this darkness that I carried and I brought it, that I went into, I suffered loneliness, desperation, fear. I maintained my discipline, but I was in the most darkest darkness that I've ever experienced. And what happened for the last 6 months as I've started to come out of it is I would come out into this light place of ease and beauty and openness, and I'd be like, wow, okay, that's what all that school was about, all that learning, all that darkness was about, because I maintained my meditation, I maintained my discipline, I maintained my taking care of my body, my relationships. I did what I needed to do, and yet it wasn't me that brought it out. It was the surrender that. So we came out of it, and it seemed like we came out of it, and we're like with joy and peace and light, and wow, True Diamond Heart is starting. This is everything's so magnificent. And then, bang! Something would happen. A dark miracle would bring me into the center of the darkness again. Loneliness, despair, fear, terror. And then, with the maintenance of the work that I needed to do, came a higher degree of light, and we came out of it into a greater light. We said, okay, that's what I wasn't really finished with that school, but now I am. Nope, it happened again and again and again, and yet it might happen again. We'll see what happens. I'm starting to learn deeply that this is out of my control, and we will go where the light brings me, and if that's into the fear and the desperation and the terror, I will maintain my discipline. I will do what I need to do, and I will, to the best of my ability, to the best of the degree of sincerity I carry right now, I will stay with the surrender and the faith to allow the light to bring me to where it is I need to go, where my soul is calling me. And that's how it works. It's like waves, out, and then an undertow pulls back out. And at each time, it's a rising tide. Each time, further up, further and higher. Yes, through the darkness, the courage to just accept that it is difficult. The honesty to know that it's difficult, even if it seems like we fooled ourselves. My friend that I was just speaking about, she thought she was happy. She believed, she swallowed this simple, although she was doing her deep work and she had deep connection, definitely. She'd also, just as me in traffic, I'd fooled myself into believing I was spiritual, where I was really suppressing the reaction as opposed to not having a reaction, being responsive to the reaction, which means watching the rising anger and letting it dissipate. I suppressed it, which means I fed it with my false identification. Her with her false identification, I think positive, I will not succumb to darkness. Oh no. You can't avoid darkness by thinking positive. You can't think your way out of it or feel your way out of it. You can simply experience and surrender and let it be done for you. Surrender next time. True Diamond Heart, please support us. Please bring your likes, subscriptions, followers, whatever this is. Please bring this, your friends. Please bring your unique beauty, your ideas, your focus, your energy, because this is the work that you have been put on earth to learn to become. Not necessarily True Diamond Heart, but maybe, because you're here now. Good chance that's a part of it. The expansion and the revelation of light is simply unstoppable. We'll see you soon for more Through the Darkness.